Today, we're diving into an incredible historical moment, a moment where a military campaign wasn't just about swords and shields, but was guided by a deep, strategic wisdom rooted in faith and ethics. It's a fascinating look at a different kind of leadership. Let's jump right in. So, let's start with a huge question. How does a brand new, up-and-coming power even think about challenging a massive, established empire? It's the ultimate David versus Goliath story, right? On paper, it looks, well, pretty much impossible. Okay, so picture this. It's the early 7th century. The first caliph, Abu Bakr, makes a momentous decision. He's going to send armies into Syria. And you have to understand, Syria was the backyard of the Byzantine Empire, one of the world's great superpowers. This was not some minor skirmish. It was a massive gamble, a true test of conviction against what seemed like insurmountable odds. So, you're facing this giant. What's the game plan? You probably wouldn't choose a single head-on attack, right? Well, the strategy Abu Bakr used was something else entirely. It was clever, unexpected, and it was drawn from a very, very deep well of spiritual wisdom. And this is where things get really interesting. The inspiration for this military strategy comes directly from this verse in the Quran. It's telling the story of the prophet Jacob advising his sons. And the principle is just brilliant. Don't give your opponent one big, obvious target. Instead, you split up, you come from different directions, you force them to divide their attention, you become unpredictable. And here's exactly how that wisdom was put into practice. Abu Bakr didn't send one huge army. Nope, he sent 4 separate armies into Syria, each with its own commander. They took different routes, had different initial goals, and that forced the Byzantines to scramble, trying to figure out where the real threat was. It was the different gate strategy playing out in real time. Now, all of this is powered by a core philosophy, perfectly captured in this famous teaching: tie your camel and rely on Allah. What does that mean? It means you don't just sit back and hope for the best. You do the work, you do the meticulous, strategic planning. That's tying your camel. And only after you've done everything in your power do you place your trust in a higher outcome. It's the perfect marriage of pragmatism and faith. And this philosophy didn't just stay at the 30,000-foot view. It went all the way down to the individual leaders. In fact, before the armies left, Abu Bakr famously walked alongside one of his top commanders, Yazeed, and gave him what was essentially a masterclass in leadership. This wasn't just about winning a war. It was about the way you lead. So, what was the very first piece of advice? Was it about battle formations, supply lines? No. It was about the commander's own personal character. The logic here is so powerful. You can't possibly lead an army if you haven't mastered yourself first. True leadership, from this perspective, starts from the inside out. Let's break down what that council actually looked like. It was all about your internal state, your relationship with your troops, and your own spiritual discipline. He advised, if you are righteous and good, your people will be good to you. It's about setting the example. And he talked about prayer not just as a ritual, but as a practical tool, a refuge in times of calamity. It's a complete, holistic guide to command. But, and this is crucial, this wasn't just a philosophy lecture. Right after the moral guidance, Abu Bakr laid out a set of incredibly sharp, practical rules for the battlefield. This is where the spiritual and the tactical become one. And just look at some of this advice. It is timeless. Be concise, so your orders are clear. Treat enemy envoys with respect, but be smart. Don't let them see your camp's weaknesses. Keep your secrets safe. And this last one is amazing. Do not spy on your own troops. Why? Because trust within your own ranks is an army's greatest asset. Breaking that trust is self-sabotage. And then you have this. This instruction is just remarkable for its time. Think about it. In an age of absolutely brutal warfare, here is a direct command to leave non-combatants, religious monks and hermits, completely alone. It draws a clear ethical line in the sand. This war is with the opposing army, not with civilians. It's a code of conduct that was way, way ahead of its time. So, let's zoom back out. What do we see when we put all of this together? You get a complete, unified philosophy of leadership. And honestly, it feels just as relevant today as it must have felt 1,400 years ago. This chart really nails it. On one side, you have the strategic wisdom, the external stuff, the actions you take. On the other, you have the leadership wisdom, the internal stuff, the kind of person you are. And they're not separate. They are two sides of the very same coin. True strength, it suggests, comes from combining smart planning with personal integrity, all resting on a foundation of faith. Maybe the most surprisingly modern idea in all of this is this one right here. Abu Bakr literally told his commander, I have appointed you in order to test you. If you do badly, I will dismiss you. Just think about that. He's saying your authority isn't a given. It's a responsibility. It has to be earned and re-earned through your actions and your competence. It's a results-based meritocracy, plain and simple. And so that really leaves us with one final big question to think about. Is great leadership just about being a brilliant tactician, or is the true foundation something deeper? Is it maybe found in that powerful mix of wisdom, character, and a purpose so strong it can inspire people to do what everyone else thinks is impossible?